Good evening. Today I will study To His Coy Mistress by the metaphysical poet Andrew Marvell. To His Coy Mistress, C-O-Y, coy, M-I-S-T-R-E-S-S. The word coy means shy. Now, the poem's theme is love versus death. Now, whenever you talk of this poem, Carpathian theme comes to your mind. Carpathian, C-A-R-P-E-D-I-E-M. I repeat, C-A-R-P-E, carp, D-I-E-M, the end. It means take hold of the day. Enjoy yourself while you have the opportunity. Grab the moment. Now, to make the long story short, the lover over here wants to have sex with his lady love. He wants to enjoy sex, but she says, no, not yet. In a typical girly manner, the girls of those days, and the lover convinces her to have sex while it is time. Fine. Before they age up or before they die. Now, in philosophy, there is one chapter, there's one branch that's logic. Over there, there's a chapter called syllogism, S-Y-L-L-O-G-I-S-M. And they speak in syllogistic patterns. Syllogistic pattern, if, but, therefore. Now this way of, arguing in a very convincing manner, if, but, therefore, you might wonder if it's a poem. Look, in poems normally have imagination, a lot, a very high level of imagination. Metaphysical poets, they are very witty, intelligent, clever. They were intellectuals, but they lacked the basic necessity what a poet should have, that is high level of imagination. They lacked over there in imagination, but then they had intelligence, you can say. Their poetry is witty, intelligent. You'll feel sometimes, at times, as if a lawyer is talking, as if an advocate is talking. But it's after all a poem. Fine. So what the lover does over here? He uses a syllogistic pattern of argument, if, but, therefore, to convince the lady love, who is modest, who is shy, to have sex before it gets too late or before they die off. They should enjoy while it's time. Now, syllogistic pattern, if, but, therefore. The poem has three parts, if, one part, but, therefore. Now let's begin. Had we, like if only, had we but world enough and time, if we had world enough and time, this coyness means modesty, but false modesty is implied. This coyness lady were no crime. Were is a word of supposition. If I say, if I were the Prime Minister of a country, but I'm not. If I were, if I had been, but I'm not. So this coyness lady were no crime, but actually it is a crime. Now if we had enough time, what would we do? If we would sit down and think which way to walk and pass our long love's day. Like one day consisting of centuries given over to making love. If we had enough time, we would just sit and think how to pass our day. And fine, you would do something exotic in exotic surroundings, while I would stay at the native place only. Thou, you, by the Indian Ganges side. Now, the great Ganges, the great river of northern India, sacred to the Hindus. They had a great idea of India, that you would go to India, a very rich country, an exotic place. You would be beside the river Ganges, and they thought rubies would be found everywhere scattered over there. You would be collecting rubies over there, you would find rubies over there. Fine, you would go to some exotic surroundings to do some exotic things, whereas I would stay at the native place only. And I, by the tide of Humber, river Humber, which flows through his native city Hull, Hull, I would complain, no, she has left me and gone away from me, like that. Now, beginning of the world, end of the world. He says to her, I would love you, if we had enough time then, 10 years before the beginning of the world. And I would love you till the end of the world. If we had enough time then. He says, I would love you 10 years before the flood. In the Holy Bible, in the Old Testament, you have the reference of the great flood, the great deluge. Now, one great flood came, and after that the world got destroyed and a new world got created. So let's talk of this new world which got created. You can say the beginning of the world, fine? Now, they say it is a belief that this event happened, the great flood, 1656 years after time began. Fine? After time began, after 656 years, the great flood happened. And he says to her, I would love you 10 years before that. That is, he would love her from 1646 Anno Mundi, ANNOMUNDI. 10 years before the flood, before the beginning of the world, and you should, if you please, refuse, go on refusing me till the end of the world. Now, when the world will come to an end, that will be, doomsday, judgment day, or the final day of justice, there will be certain signs before what we can see and understand that the world is coming to an end. And among the signs, what people can see, one will be that the Jews will turn to Christianity, will turn Christians. The Jews will turn Christians. Fine. So this will be one of the signs that the world has come, or world is coming to an end. Fine. So he says, I would love you 10 years before the world begins, and I would go on loving you till the conversion of the Jews to Christianity. So conversion of the Jews, that would mark the end of the world. Meaning I would love you 10 years before the world started, and I would go on loving you till the end of the world. And fine. If we had enough time then, my vegetable love, it has two meanings. One, plant-like love, perhaps more specifically tree-like in its slow but steady growth. And next, vegetable, pure love, ethereal love, would grow, should grow vaster than empires. And more slow, I would love you very slow if there was enough time then. 100 years should go to praise your eyes or your forehead gaze. I would spend 100 years to praise your eyes or to gaze at your forehead. Now it's coming down. Eyes, forehead, now down. 200 years to adore each breast. You go more down. So from here he went to the breasts, And now he'll come more down, maybe navel or vagina, whatever. So when it's coming down, the girl by now blushes. The girl blushes right now. Then he says, alright, fine, 30,000 for the rest. But 30,000 for the rest. Alright, done. An age thought of as about 800 years. An age, at least, it's not at least, is passing an irony. An age at least to every part of your body. If we had enough time, then don't forget. An age at least to every part, and the last age should show your heart. Last age, the millennium marked by the second coming of Christ, after which the world and time will cease. The last age will show your heart. Now if a lady shows the heart, that means she is ready to receive the man mentally, spiritually, ethically and physically. She's ready to welcome the man. So fine, the last age would show your heart. If you would go refusing, and I would do such things, praise for so many years, if you had enough time then. For lady, you deserve this state. You deserve this thing. Again, he is passing an irony. Nor would I love you at lower rate. And I won't love you at a lower rate. I'll love you that what you deserve, He is passing an irony. So if part is over. Now we'll study but. See, if we had enough time then. But the fact is, we don't have enough time. But at my back I always hear Time's winged chariot. Winged chariot, here you have two metaphors clubbed. Birds have wings to fly, and chariot pulled by horses moving fast. See, time, the greatest villain of the world, which destroys the world. Fine? Things of the world. So I hear Time's winged chariot hurrying near to destroy us, to crush us. And yonder us, before us lie. Now, in simple English, in plain English, we pronounce it like this: deserts of vast eternity. But over here, for the sake of emphasis, and that the lover is frightening, frightening her, giving some fear to her, he pronounces it in a different way. He pronounces it in a different way. He says, and before us lie deserts. For deserts he says deserts of vast, eternity. In that way, he instills fear in her. Now desert stands for complete ruin and destruction. Before us we have deserts of vast eternity. Thy beauty, your beauty shall no more be found like the beauty what you have today. Afterwards the beauty will not be found. Nor in your marble vault. When a person dies, he is buried, and then above the grave we make a stony structure that's called vault, made up of marble generally. So in the marble vault, nor in the marble vault shall sound my echoing song. I keep repeating. Fine? My song, my love proposal is like an echo. So you not hear this thing inside the vault once you are inside the vault. Alright. Then worms shall try that long preserved. We normally say virginity, but over here for the sake of rhyme, we pronounce it virginity. Then worms shall try that long preserved virginity. Now inside the female sexual organ, vagina, there is one tissue, hymen, Hymen, that we call virgin knot. which is ruptured in the first sexual intercourse. Fine. So if my penis does not break that, once you are inside the grave, the virginity what you have preserved, saved, once you are inside the grave, the body will rot and the worms will come, the body all over the body, you can say, and then worms will break that virgin knot. So worms will try that long preserved virginity. So finally it is not gonna be safe. If not me, the worms will break that. And your quaint honor, it refers to the female genital organ, you can say. Turned, or you can say, yeah, female genital organs, and your quaint honor turned to dust. After time, the body turns into dust, turns into dust, sorry. And into ashes, all my lust, whatever lust I have, that also will turn into ashes. I know, like the girl says, please leave me alone, don't disturb me, leave me alone. I know you want a private life, private place, fine. Yeah, the grave is a fine and a private, it speaks in ironic manner here. The grave is a fine and private place, but no one is going to embrace you over there. But none, I think, that you embrace. But part is over, now we'll study therefore. Therefore, what to do? What can we do? What should we do? Now, therefore, see, there's a point again. Suppose you have some persons, they have become very old. Now, if they have the intention also to have sex, their bodies may not permit, may not respond to the desires, that also can happen. Now, in young age, if the desire comes, the body can respond to that, the body can work according to the desires or the desire. Now, therefore, while the youthful, they are young, both of them, youthful hue, hue means color, sits on thy skin, sits on your skin like morning dew drops, like simile. And while your willing soul, now you are having desire now, while your willing soul transpires at every pore with instant fires of passion. Now let us sport while we may. Strong active sex is like sport, scratching and like that, or love bites and all. Let us sport while we may. And now, like amorous, loving birds of prey. You know, birds of prey like eagle, hawk, they are birds of prey. They catch the birds and tear them apart. So strong active love making sex is like birds of prey attacking other birds. So let's attack each other sexually, you know that thing. But don't forget, after all, it's a matter of love. Birds of prey. Rather at once our time devour. We should try to devour time. We should try to attack time. Now we cannot attack time, but we can take full use of time. That is sort of, we can say, defeating time by taking full use of time. Than languish, die at a slow pace in his times, slow chapped power, chapped jaws. Time can be, time kills us. Time devours people. Time is being personified over here, and is like the power of time's slowly devouring jaws. Time eating people, or destroying the things of the world. Let us roll all our strength and all our sweetness, mind it, strength and sweetness both, up into one ball, and tear our pleasures with rough strife through the iron gates of life. Now, one is iron gates of life, death. So let's tear it and find our happiness, one meaning. And second, like to break the virgin knot of the girl, but unless that's broken, they will not be enjoying sex. So that we have to do. So imagine there is a strong wall, they bring maybe the tree's trunk and that keep on banging and finally they break that. So like that, let us, no, don't forget it's matter of love after all. So, and be strong a bit. It can hurt a little. So let's use, it can hurt the girl after all. So let's use our strength and sweetness and then tear our pleasures with rough strife through the iron gates of life. It refers to the virginity, virgin knot, and also the gates of death. Thus, we cannot make ourselves stand still. They thought those days that the earth was fixed and the sun went round the earth. The sun goes round once, one day is over, goes for 365 days, 1 year is over, into 100 years are over. So time runs, sun moves and along with the sun, time moves and things are destroyed. So if you stop sun, as if time has stopped. So he says, no, it's not possible for us to stop sun. Thus we cannot make ourselves stand still. Don't say we will, yet we will make him run. If we take the full use of time, time will see, oh my God, these fellows are taking much use of time, so no, time will feel the pressure. We will make sun, we will make him run. Fine. So that's all to his Mistress by Andrew Marvell. Thank you.